Of course, in 2 more seconds and we'll be streaming. And we're good now.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Roberta Seymour. I'm chair of the Community Board 7 Senior Task Force, and I'm thrilled to be here today and welcome you all to our Housing 101 Part 3 Forum on Thriving. I want to thank all of our local elected officials for participating in the Senior Task Force. Today, I'm honored to have with me representatives from Project Find, from DOROT, from Search and Care, and from Lighthouse Guild, and also from Encore Community Service. And a special thanks to our district manager, Max Vandervliet. I want to remind everybody to put questions on the Q&A, and at the end there will be a Q&A. And at some point, Councilmember Gail Brewer will be joining us, but we're going to start now. So I'm thrilled to introduce Mark Jennings from Project Find, who has pulled this wonderful panel together.
All right, I want to thank everyone for coming today, and those that have come and enjoyed and learned from our first 2 sessions in this 3-part housing series. This is our closeout session. So we've discussed obtaining housing and some of the strategies and tips there. We've talked about maintaining housing, looking at emergency eviction services and other things related to human rights and housing. And today we're going to look at and discuss thriving in housing. And we have 3 wonderful community-based programs, vital in the community board that are working, that we'll hear from. And these are just samplings of the many different resources that are available to older adults in the community board in Manhattan and in New York in general. So this is just a taste and hope that you will enjoy. And I see Honorable Gail Brewer has joined us, and I'm going to turn it back to Roberta to introduce Gail and have her say a few words before we get started.
I'm thrilled to welcome our wonderful council member. She was our council member many years ago, and then she left and became the Manhattan Borough President. Now we're thrilled to have her back with us. And the seniors are so important on the Upper West Side, and Gail has gone out of her way for over 30 years to ensure that seniors are able to thrive on the Upper West Side. Well, thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Roberta, very much for everything. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, at the National League of Cities, because I'm on the board there. And it's interesting to listen to somebody who has a mayor of a town of 200 or somebody who is mayor of a town of 17,000 or 50,000. I always think 79th Street between Amsterdam and Columbus, about the same size, but I don't say that. I just listen very nicely and carefully and don't say too much. But Atlanta is doing some interesting things. It just had the deputy mayor and somebody who's head of homeless. Very impressive. Of course, both of them were born in New York City, so that's why. So I want to thank you because you're doing a lot for the seniors, the committee, Roberta, everybody who's part of this discussion. And I think there's a couple of things I want to say. First of all, we still have a huge people not applying for SCREE, SHE, etc. And so we do have somebody in our office every Monday. I think she'll be back after Labor Day, but she's there every Monday and she's swamped. So we have to keep working on that. For some reason, it doesn't seem to, I guess some people think it's stigmatizing. Also, I think we should pass a resolution at the board. We're going to do so with the city council to say that the state should raise from 50, some people say 55, 60,000, but definitely has to go up in terms of the threshold. I don't know if that's something that you want to consider, but it would help more people. And the city should just absorb the property tax difference because it is going to keep people in their homes. That's something to think about. But the squeegee, et cetera, is still endless. And of course, we still have the monthly housing clinics with Goddard, Riverside, and Take Root Justice. We're doing about 100, 120 people. And, you'd think that thanks to the city council before I was there, where everybody gets an attorney and where we're supposed to be paying attention because we don't want anybody to get evicted, that we'd have less people scared to death. But you know what's happening? Not only do you have many questions about rent control, which is a lot of seniors. In fact, there's probably 100% seniors now. And then all the rent stabilization questions. But now you got, you know, rents for seniors as well as everybody else in the markets going up crazy amounts. And so it was interesting to me, there was somebody here from Richmond, Virginia, a council member, and they have a 36% increase in rents in the city of Richmond, Virginia. So, you know, it's across the board. It's just, you know, it's even higher. So anyway, I know that not everybody, it's controversial that just cause legislation in Albany. I'm very supportive because the market is rents are what's actually killing people, not right now, to be honest with you. And I know there are some seniors in that situation. And then I just want to, you know, the fresh food for seniors, very popular. I think the first day we had 200 people sign up. People are willing, more than welcome. It's $10, but it's also just, you know, it feels like the government's doing something for me because we are actually using the van that de Blasio did give the borough president a van. And to the credit of Mark Levine, he's giving us a driver and the van. And then Goddard and others, all of us are collaborating to get the 200 seniors almost door-to-door service for their unbelievably fresh food in a really beautiful bag with lots of help from our interns and the seniors who like to actually pack at Goddard this amazing food. So it's a small thing, but I cannot tell you how popular it is because it's something about, you know, something that we do for ourselves, something that's not hard to access. You don't have to go through paperwork, $10 and you're done. So I don't know, something, if you want to keep pushing it, I think people like it, and they don't have to lug it home from the green market in the granny carts and, you know, find the bus and lug it up the steps and all that kind of stuff. They just get it. And we try to make sure there's no like huge eggplant in there that weighs, you know, 20 pounds. They can carry it or they can handle it. And it comes with a menu and where the stuff comes from, what farm, and a recipe. So I want to give Shula Warren Pooter a lot of credit because she's been working on this for years and years and years. Then there's the ongoing, thank you, Project Fine for 79th Street. I think you're God knows how many applications you're going to get. I hate to think. I think it closes August 5th. And, you know, people are coming to our office and I'm sure they're swamping you. It's very frustrating that it can't be something that local persons get priority for. It's really pissing me off. There's that lawsuit that is not decided upon, but Craig Gurian, he and I don't always get along, to put it mildly. And he's sort of threatening this lawsuit that's got the city all nervous about, you know, he thinks it's wrong to have local people get priority because he thinks that then the wealthy areas get more advantage. That's not how it should work. But in any case, we're stuck with it for now. I will say that we got to figure out how to get more housing. And as we speak, you know, there's always this, everybody's hunting for more SROs to purchase. Is there something else we can be doing? I know sometimes you find them uptown, but of course we want to find them here on the west side. I don't know what's going on with the one on 79th Street. I don't know what's going on with some of the ones on 94th and 95th. Obviously there are people in them, but sometimes it's just the permanent tenants and not anybody else. So I think we need to have and senior housing is always A, needed and B, popular. I have quite a few constituents now, as you can imagine, that are in walk-ups and cannot walk. And so you should see me, I call Phelps. I don't know, you have to be dead before you get in there. And then I call, Wishfish, and you gotta be dead before you get in there. And then I call Project Fine, and you gotta be dead before you get in there. So it's just terrible. And I feel so bad for these people because they literally cannot walk up 3 or 4 flights. And you know this, and we're coming back from the hospital, same problem. So I don't know the answer, but I think, you know, I wish we could find a way, I guess there isn't, to have priority for something like that. You know, you've been here for 50 years and now you can't walk up the steps and there's literally no place for you to go. I got about 4 people like that. I'm sure you have many more. I got a grown man, I don't want to give you his background, very well known attorney. I don't know what happened to his money, but it's gone. And he's got steps and no money and et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, people apply for all the right places, but I don't know what number they are on the list, but it's certainly not tomorrow. So all these things are really hard to deal with. I think the other thing I want to mention is if you need more, there's a lot of free events. That's exciting. Between the parks, Lincoln Center deserves lots of stars. I mean, they have free events all the time. And I assume seniors are taking advantage of it, or maybe there are other kinds of programs that you want. I mean, seniors love to dance. There's a lot of dancing there. They love to dance. And I assume you're letting them know about these, you know, between Hudson River, Riverside Park, Lincoln Center, JCC. I mean, it's amazing. It's like the summer that I've never seen. I assume you all get our newsletter. We put everything in that newsletter. I mean, if somebody says that they have a free program for 3 people, we put it in. And you've got all of the Shakespeare, not just in the park, but you've got Shakespeare behind Soldiers and Sailors. If you go uptown to the Marcus Garvey, oh my God, you should see that program. So, you know, these are amazing things. Lots of things that Jackie Robinson, obviously I know the whole borough, so I can tell you where the good programs are. So anyway, I just hope that's helpful to you. I want to thank you because without all the support of all the programs I must mention, plus DOROT and everybody else, I just think, now the other thing is, okay, now this is my stupid Gail, but there are several foundations that focus on seniors and they have been interested in meeting with us, and maybe you are already meeting with them. I know they fund certain, some of you, they certainly fund Search and Care. And so at some point, I think it would be worth trying to meet with some of them to see if they have some ideas about things we could do to be more age-friendly. I don't even know what that means exactly anymore. There is a new supermarket coming. People will love it. Morton Williams is coming to 68th and Broadway. And people will, you know, they're very picky, these seniors, about where they shop. Potatoes aren't the right size scale. Oh my God, I don't know what, I can't help you with that one. And then they like, either they like Trader Joe's or they like Fairway, you know, and then they complain about both of them. So, but I think having another supermarket is fabulous. You should also know that this Saturday, I assume you know, from 12 to 6 or 7 at Amsterdam houses. We'll have seniors and young people, but there will be a lot of seniors. And it's the 75th anniversary of that development. That is where obviously Thelonious Monk grew up. It is where Andrea Stewart Cousins grew up. She's head of the state Senate. And it is where Robert Johnson, used to be the DA in the Bronx, grew up. They're all invited, you're invited. I think the speaking program will be around 3 o'clock. And the committee of people, mostly who grew up there, who are now living outside of the development, but who help, like you can't imagine. And we've all been working hard to put this day together. I can't tell you how many phone calls. But you know, this is the center of our community, Amsterdam. And the center will be open. Goddard has been incredibly helpful. So I hope you all want to join us. It's a big deal for the community.
Gail, thank you so very much for
Thank you.
having you, and I hope everyone reads your newsletter twice a week.
Thank you, Roberta. Good luck, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I turn back to Mark.
Hi, excellent. Thank you again. You know, and so I want to just introduce Shahyla Stevens, who's going to moderate and help us get through the session. From Encore Community, and Shahyla is their Senior Director of Programs and Services, and she oversees a wealth of their programming, and had a chance to see a Pix 11, I think, piece on Encore just the other day in terms of being able to serve some food through the heat wave. And you can check out Encore online, but they're doing wonderful work everywhere from housing, et cetera. And she comes to us from working in a number of junior executive levels at organizations like the Greater New York Hospital Association and in some places in Denver as well as here in New York. So she's well established, and I'll let her take it away to introduce our panelists.
Hello, thank you guys so much for having me. Gail, I wanted to have a follow-up question. How does an individual get on your newsletter?
You just go to the Gail Brewer at the City Council website, and I'll get somebody to put it in the chat also.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All righty, so I want to introduce some of our great presenters and panelists today. So we have Anna Becker, who is an LCSW who's worked in the field of aging for over a decade and has experience in home care, case management, and mental health. She is currently a manager in the Constituent and Community Services Department at DOROT. Robin Straussen has worked at Search and Care for 17 years, helping other older adults through outreach, intergenerational volunteers, medical escorts, and PET, so Pets Plus Elders Together, which earned the ASPCA's Heroes in Human Services Award in 2019. She has also served on Metropolitan Hospital's Community Advisory Board and served their Petra Alinde Advocacy Award. Robin is an active public member of Community Board 11's Health and Human Services Committee in East Harlem since 2012. We also have Lisa Beth Miller, LCSW, and it says BCD, and she is the Outreach and Referral Coordinator at Lighthouse Guild. She previously served as Social Work Manager for Lighthouse Guild Continuing Day Treatment Program and has served on the board of the New York State Society for Clinical Social Work Met Chapter. She brings her years of experience as a clinical social worker on an inpatient psychiatric unit, and in her private practice, she works connecting people to what they need. Can we have all of our people just wave a little bit for the crowd? All right, so we are going to move over to the next session. Give me a moment to pull this up. Sorry, I have my little link down. Here we go. Okay. There we go.
Yeah, I think Robin is going to lead us off.
Yeah, Robin's going to kick off for us. Sorry, I closed that link out too soon. Okay.
Just waiting for the slides to show.
Sure. So just to confirm that I have the correct ones for you, they start off as caring for New York City's older adults. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Excellent. Okay, just give me about 5 seconds and I'll share my screen.
No problem. I also want to just say my colleague Joseph D. Benedetto is on hand. He's one of our LMSWs. I'm at a place where we often lose power or I might freeze. So I wanted to be sure you had a backup today so that Search and Care could still get our message to all of the participants. Thank you, Joseph. Great, thank you. So can I please have the first slide? The next slide. Thank you. So we're actually a very small private organization, a community social service agency that was started in 1972 by a social worker and a minister at a church in Yorkville who went house to house speaking to supers, looking for older people who were in need of help, because the minister was highly aware at that time that the city was running on fumes. There was no such thing as Meals on Wheels at the time. And he recognized that there were so many parishioners as well as community members in need of services. So that's actually how Search and Care started, somewhat as an outreach organization. And our mission today is the same it was then, to help our older neighbors age in the comfort of their homes with quality of life and peace of mind. All of our services are fee-free. All of our services have come out of a commonality of client needs. And the area we serve started as Yorkville and Carnegie Hill, which was basically 86 to 96. And then about, I guess, 12 years ago, we went north to East Harlem. And just a year ago, we went across the park to the Upper West Side from West 65th to 110th Street. Next slide, please. Our theme for this presentation is that our services are somewhat like doors. Much like a menu, you might like one appetizer and an entree, or you may just want to have a salad. So that's kind of the theme of our presentation. So care management. Next slide, please. This is the heart of searching care. This is where you would have a social worker working for you in a really wonderful capacity, often as your advocate, helping you get benefits, the entitlements that are free to you from government. They will refer you possibly to other organizations where we can't help you ourselves. For example, if you want a lawyer, we are not a law firm, nor are we a home care agency, despite some people might think that from our name. But to qualify, we'd like you to be age 60 or older, living in any of our catchment areas from the Upper West to the Upper East Sides. And non-means tested means it doesn't matter if you have $85,000, $3 million, or just a Metro card. We are welcome. We welcome you. So our social workers and our care managers review referrals from Department of the Aging, for example, Meals on Wheels requests, or other community sources such as visiting nurse service. If you're coming home from the hospital or you've been home for a while and you need services, the VNS nurse would refer you to us possibly. We also get referrals from our local churches, from housing organizations, from medical establishments, and also, thank you, Gil Brewer, we get referrals from a lot of our elected officials, and they're reviewed regularly by our program director and social workers. Next slide, please. So, money matters. This is a really wonderful service, and I think it's probably one of the, next to care management, one of the most important services if you're of need that will help you stay at home. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is a service where we actually work with retired financial pros who work as field navigators and will come to your home and help you in general with paying bills, but it's really much more involved than just that. It always starts with paper organization. I mean, most of us, if you ask us, where is your social security letter of determination, how many of you can actually put your hands on it? So very often our Money Matters people are involved with helping requests for requalifying for various benefits, and by being organized, it's a lot easier to do that next time around. Of course, a lot of people we help have come with debt. So Money Matters navigators will help with debt reduction. Often they could see errors in billings, will help with that as well. And also, I know a lot of people get requests from the same nonprofit, maybe 10 times a year, because you've been so generous to them. We'd like to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of. So we've actually been doing this for over 40 years. We wrote a manual called Why Money Matters. It's available to other agencies who'd like to replicate it. And it was so nice to meet you, Shahaila, because I know that your organization is one of those that has done that. And we're happy to work with others to do that. Next, please. So this is kind of near and dear to me as a pet owner, but our pet program, Pets and Elders Together, allows us to help pets age in place along with their owners. Next slide, please. Again, all these services are free, but the goal here is to keep the pet and owner together, but also, most importantly, keeping pets out of shelter systems. And in order to do that, we attract funders who help us to underwrite vet care, pet food, medications, grooming, equipment, transportation to vet appointments. And we also encourage our pet owners to make an advanced pet plan. This is so important because not only does it help you, if you have to suddenly go into the hospital, you already have somebody named who will step in to take care of your pet. It also helps ensure that your pet is there when you get back out. And if anybody ever wants to me to talk about that with you, I'm happy to. We have some tools that will help you. And we have owner educational workshops throughout the year. We've had vets talk about nutrition. We've had feline behaviors talking about the curiosity of cat behaviors. So this is we really enjoy working with our clients and their pets. Next, please. Medical escorts. Next slide, please. This is for people who do not have a home attendant, do not have family or friends who can take them to and from appointments and don't have the finances to hire somebody to do so. And it's really important because it would help people be compliant with their medical care when otherwise it might have been an impediment. We actually hire and vet people to be escorts. We pay them per escort, so it's not like they're just sitting in our office waiting to go. It's very agenda focused. And the escort will call the client the day before as a reminder. Very often the time of the appointment has changed, or maybe the mode of transportation has changed. It's a good reminder situation. But frankly, one of the best things about it is there are so many clients, especially coming out of, well, still living in COVID, whose anxieties are just piling up. And this is one way to help, we think, reduce it. The requirement is that you must be seen by one of our staff in home prior to receiving services and proof of COVID vaccinations. And I just want to add, since I mentioned it, that right now, because of this large wave of COVID, again, we are at a point where we are temporarily not doing any in-home visits at all because of COVID. If it's required, we will meet people outside, but not in the home. Next slide, please. Computer connectivity. Next slide. Thank you. There's so many clients that we help who are not of a generation. I mean, I'm a senior myself, not of a generation that grew up using this equipment. Even a cell phone can be a frightening experience. And I think it's great to have somebody who's not a family member who will help you navigate through how to use it based on your interests. For example, we've learned from working one-on-one with our clients and connectivity. Of course, they all have different interests, and most of these people would be terrified or would not prefer not to go to a senior center because it's kind of like a language. It requires a lot of repetition before you pick it up. And I know that many of the people we help would be embarrassed to ask the questions they would then need to ask. So what's great about providing one-on-one coaching is that not only are you learning how to use this equipment, but you're learning it based on what your interests are. For example, a client might like to look up salt-free recipes. Another client might like to just play some sort of games. And another client actually might like to go on J-date. So there's a lot of different reasons why people want to come to connectivity, and we're providing platforms for them to do that as often as possible directly in their home. We're not a senior center. Most of our work with our clients is in the home. Next, please. Mental health. Wow, this couldn't be a better time to talk about mental health. Next slide, please. During COVID, beginning of COVID, our social work department developed a new service called Talking It Out, and it really is pretty much what it says. It is really about having a regular telephonic appointment or virtual sessions with one of our bilingual MSWs to talk about what's pressing you the most. I think a lot of people feel very disengaged with neighbors, with friends, from families, and it's creating a lot more anxiety So it destigmatizes mental health issues for a generation that never really wanted to talk about mental health, and no time better than now. Next, please. So the last door that I want to talk about is groups. I know a lot of other organizations have groups. We're not a senior center, so from the beginning, we've always had a focus on small, intimate groups. Next slide, please. That cater to a lot of different interests. And they're now held telephonically or via Zoom, so that you have older people coming together based on common interests. It's great for learning, it's great for calming, and it's great for connecting, whether you want to learn more about medications from our nurse, whether you want to hear a wonderful vocalese concert, whether you want to be read a short story and then discuss it, which is reading room, or you want to join our morning meditation with Joanne, or music and melody with Chris, or decluttering with Millie. These are relatively small groups, and we're happy to have others join us. Next slide, please. So if you're interested in more from Search and Care, you can certainly contact me, but if you're interested in becoming a client or obtaining any of our services, please contact our program director, Susan Soroto, at Search and Care. Our phone number is 212-289-5300. Thank you so much.
All right, next we're going to have the overview of the Lighthouse program.
I'm unmuted. Hi, I'm going to give you an overview of Lighthouse Guild, another one of the organizations here to show you how to thrive. And I am the Outreach and Referral Coordinator. My name's Lisa Beth Miller. BCD stands for Board Certified Diplomate, just so you know, since that was questioned before what that could be. So here's an overview of Lighthouse Guild programs and services. So you know that if it's for you or someone you know or a neighbor would benefit, I welcome callers from all over, not just CB7, but especially CB7. Lighthouse Guild is one of the leading organizations serving people with vision impairment and blindness. We're dedicated to providing exceptional services that inspire people who are visually impaired to attain their goals. Lighthouse Guild, resources here. Vision and healthcare services. We have direct and telehealth services in all 5 boroughs of New York City. And we have programs in Albany, Buffalo, and Niagara Falls, which I'll talk about a little bit later. There are support services for people with vision impairment and blindness for all ages. We have online training programs and many resources for professionals and caregivers. Low vision rehabilitation services, which is our specialty at Lighthouse Guild, enable people of all ages to make the best use of whatever remaining vision they have. We help people adjust to their low vision or blindness emotionally and functionally. And we introduce skills and strategies and technology to maximize vision functions and independence. There are customized services to meet individual needs provided at home and in the community. And usually the first step in vision rehabilitation is a low vision exam. And a low vision evaluation, you can see in the photo to the right, there's a photo of Dr. Rosenthal showing someone the contrast sensitivity assessment, where you can see the top line is very dark letters. And as you go down, they're less dark. meaning it's an assessment of contrast sensitivity. So the low vision evaluation includes that test. So I'll go back to the lines here. It says focuses on visual function, patient goals, and abilities in daily activities. There are a variety of low vision charts and tests that can be used to measure visual acuity. That means the sharpness of what someone's ability to see. Visual field, meaning the space over which someone can see. And the contrast sensitivity, meaning how sensitive a person is to needing things to be high contrast, or if they can see shades of colors and grays. Results of these exams determine whether there's a need for optical devices, glasses, non-optical devices and aids, technology, and vision rehabilitation services. So the vision rehabilitation services and training programs help people regain functioning and maximize their usable vision to remain safe, self-sufficient, and active at any stage in their lives. These services are in the center at 250 West 64th Street, just off West End Avenue between West End and Amsterdam. That's our one location in Manhattan. And also in the community where people, as you can see from the central photo, people learn how to use their white sight cane, for example, for orientation and mobility training out in the community, by the bus station, towards the subway, and learning how to get around. And one of the important programs is that those who are legally blind may be eligible for sponsorship through the New York State Commission for the Blind. And that's every single state has a state commission for the blind. And the New York State Commission for the Blind provides support for independent living for those with vision impairment, for blindness, for people with blindness, and also vocational rehabilitation for those that have the drive and would like to learn technology to be able to return to the workforce and find some way to return to making some money. So here are some of the programs down here: academic skills for those wanting to prepare for higher education, career services, people train in the skills to be able to return to work, and then they get placed in jobs. Orientation and mobility training, the third photo, where people learn how to use a white sight cane to get around safely and independently. Independent living skills training includes learning how to cook and prepare foods in the kitchen. And the Adaptive Technology Center, which I'll say a little bit more about in a few. We have health center services for optometry and eye exams. There's behavioral health, there's occupational therapy, and diabetes care, endocrinology, and podiatry, primary care physicians, and one of our signature programs is the Adult Day Healthcare Program that's also located in Niagara Falls, Albany, and Buffalo. And that's an adult day healthcare program that provides for people that have two chronic medical conditions. 75% of the people have vision impairment. 25% have other kinds of medical issues. And this is a program that brings people together, which has been, really put on hold a lot during COVID to a certain degree. But now we're welcoming people back, and especially people with Medicaid are welcomed into that program. And it's really very supportive, full of all kinds of resources for people. We're a Medicare and Medicaid provider and accept most health insurance plans. And here's an important part of what we're all looking at since COVID has shed light on how we all need emotional support. We have a behavioral health clinic that is certified specifically to help especially people with vision impairment. There are in-person sessions, which we have returned to for quite a while now, and also telemental health services, which includes telephone sessions and Zoom sessions. And the clinicians have expertise in caring for people with vision loss and traumatic brain injury, diabetes, and other chronic medical conditions, with services including individual therapy, couples therapy, family therapy, psychiatric evaluations, psychopharmacology and medication management. There are coping with vision loss groups, group psychotherapy. There's crisis intervention, social services, and our rich network of telesupport groups for adults with vision loss allows people to meet every other week for grant-funded programming, and not just adults, but also we have parent groups and teenage groups, and I'll say a little bit more about that too. Here we are, the Guild Care Adult Day Healthcare Program, which I mentioned has programs in New York City, Albany, Buffalo, and Niagara Falls. These services are available for adults 18 and older diagnosed with a chronic medical condition. And the main focus of this program is to help keep people from needing to go into nursing homes, to help them remain in the community and yet have access to a nurse at the program on the days that they come, which can make a big difference in just having some oversight and monitoring of a person's well-being. There are programs for all ages, including National Seller Support Network for parents, teens, young adults, and adults. There are youth and teen programs and a scholarship program for college-bound and graduate students. This is our new apple of our eye, the Lighthouse Guild Technology Center, which was formally launched in March 2022, bringing together developers, scientists, entrepreneurs, and users of vision technology. And at this beautiful office location, we have technology assessments done by occupational therapists, so people can actually get a hands-on trial of some of the equipment that can really allow them to read again for the first time. There are some electronic readers that enlarge text 10 times the size, which can make a big difference for someone who hasn't been able to see the letters. There's computer and vocational skills training for those interested in returning to work. There's accessibility functions on their tablets and smartphones that people can be brought up to speed on and to gain access to their phones, vision technology education and training. And we also have a demonstration room for smart home innovations where people can just actually say, Alexa, turn on the microwave 1 minute to warm my coffee. And there's also pilot and beta testing of new technology through our research department there. So here's one of the final slides. I just want people to think about, when is it time to seek services? And the question, you don't have to have a firm answer. And I welcome all callers, because if I can't help you here, I will point you in the right direction. But if you or someone you know or someone you come upon in the neighborhood has significant complaints about difficulties with activities of daily living, meaning taking care of themselves and basics, complaints about contrast or night vision. Sometimes people fall because they can't see the curb at the end of the street. Feelings of anxiety, depression, or hopelessness related to not being able to see. Or even someone says they're legally blind. These are all cues that they may need more help. Or any individual that has not had a physical or eye exam within the past year, then it's time to seek services, and I can help specifically. So here's a list of a few more questions. Because of your vision, do you have difficulty reading the newspaper even while wearing glasses? Do you have difficulty moving around the house without bumping into things? Do you have difficulty cooking or using the stove because you can't see the knobs and what they're saying? Difficulty identifying money or paying bills, or even just recognizing faces of people you're familiar with? Are you sad, depressed, or anxious about your vision loss? The answer of yes to any of those questions is certainly a good indication that you could at least give me a call. And if I can help you at Lighthouse Guild, I will gladly connect you to services. If something else would be more appropriate, I'm so happy to send people in the direction of the help that they need. Lighthouse Guild is here to help people manage life with vision loss. My number is right there, and I'm going to call it out to you all. Don't be shy about calling me. I do call everyone back, and I even try to pick up the phone whenever possible. My direct work cell number is 646-847-4615. You can also just call any way to get into Lighthouse Guild and ask for me, Lisa Miller, or the outreach department. And I do thank you for listening and becoming an ambassador for all those with vision impairment, and let them know they're not alone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And our next presentation will come from DOROT.
Hi, everyone. I want to just, before my PowerPoint comes up, want to just give a shout out to those two presentations and the organizations that they represent. I'm a little bit, I'm in shock, a pleasant shock about how much we have to offer in this community board. And I also want to say, as a person who's visually impaired and has benefited so much from the work of Lighthouse Guild, call Lisa if there's anyone who might benefit. That technology center is no joke. And Search and Care is incredible. And DOROT partners with Robin and Susan and Joseph so often. And I'm very lucky. DOROT is very lucky. You all are very lucky to have these resources. But DOROT would probably be upset if I just talked about Lighthouse Guild and Search and Care. So I will start talking about DOROT, even though I'm not seeing my slides. Maybe you all are. No, okay. So
Are you sharing your slides, or do you want us to?
Oh, I'm sorry. I expected that you would, but I can hit
Yeah, no,
it.
it's no problem.
Okay. And you have them, right?
Making sure now from the pile of many, but yes, I believe so.
No
Just
worries.
one
I
second.
can easily talk about DOROT as it is something that I love and know well. I have.
I think I have them now. Hold
Nope.
on, I'll share my screen.
There we are. So, hi everyone. I'm going to ask Max if it's possible for a full screen. It would help me. As I said, I'm a person with a vision impairment.
Sure. Not sure how to go about that. Do
Then
you?
never mind. No worries. Not a problem. So I'm
Well,
guessing.
one second. So Max, if you do slideshow, push slideshow there. At the
Just
top.
point me in the direction of exactly where that is.
In the ribbon at the top, file, home, insert, slideshow.
Oh, got it. Yep.
Over to the right.
Middle right.
Slideshow. One more to the right. It'll say slideshow.
Oh, is
Up.
I think my thing is in the way. Is that possible? Hold on.
Well, it may be. You can move that out the way. Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah, it was in the way. There we go.
right from the beginning, over on the left.
I'm sorry to cause a fuss. Thank you.
Oh, no worries.
You have it at all. You have it at all. From the beginning, yep, click that and that should
There you
take
go.
you to full screen.
Yay.
Cool. Thanks, Mark.
Perfect. Okay. So thriving in housing. DOROT is an organization that is focused on connecting people. And I am guessing, based on how long DOROT has been a part of this community, that many of you on this call have heard of DOROT or have been connected or touched by DOROT in some way. And I'm banking on it to get us through this presentation, since I know we're a couple of minutes behind. So Max, if you can go to the next slide, please.
It is not letting me.
Okay.
Mark, do you know how to navigate the slides? Because the arrows aren't doing it.
Push the space bar. Try your space bar.
Yeah, that's not happening either, actually.
Okay, don't worry
Hang on.
about it. Let's go back to the other
There you
version.
go.
I know.
How about now?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm going to take a breath because here we are, just being people all together having a moment. And I know that I don't need to tell you about the feeling of being lonely and isolated, because I think all of us either experienced this feeling or cared about someone experiencing this feeling during COVID. And for those of us who work in aging, or are aging or had a newborn child, or for whatever reason we're homebound, knew how awful that feeling is. And maybe what you don't know is the link to real documented, data-driven. This has consequences on mental health, physical health. This has been the work of DOROT from the beginning, is to help alleviate the impact of social isolation and loneliness, specifically for older adults in this neighborhood. But, you know, the social isolation touches everyone. And if you can go to the next slide, Max.
We're trying over here. There we go.
No, I'm sorry. I can go, connection is the cure to not being connected. And that is what DOROT does. So DOROT brings people together. In pre-COVID, we were really focused on bringing people together in the community and in people's homes. And maybe that's what you know about DOROT. And what I'm hoping that you'll take away from today's presentation is that there are many, many ways to get connected through DOROT's programs. Many of us needed to change the way that we connected with the people in our lives and took on challenges in terms of learning new technology or pushing like what felt comfortable to stay on the phone. We all did that, and that's what DOROT has really launched into doing for our communities, to figure out new ways of getting people connected. Next slide, please. So we still have those good old DOROT programs finally getting volunteers back into people's homes after this very challenging time. And Robin, mentioned that Searching Care has paused their in-home assessments, and we are doing in-home assessments, but since it's been such a long time of starting and stopping, these programs are, they require a home assessment and might take a little bit longer of a wait. Friendly visiting and our response team. Friendly visiting, I think people generally know what that is at DOROT. It's something that we've been doing for a long time, and our matching process has generated many long-standing, committed, meaningful friendships. Our response team includes volunteers who can join you to do something fun, or can help you do something maybe not so fun, like organize those papers Robin was talking about, or tackle an organizing project. I was also thinking of our response team when Gail Brewer was talking about all of the fun, free activities. I do have a slide later about this, but that would be a great thing to ask someone from the DOROT community to join you for. You can go to the next slide. So we have many opportunities to connect online. We have lots of Zoom classes, groups, events, concerts, social meetings that are happening online. If you are interested in those programs, the best way to get information about them, because it's a calendar that's being updated so often, is to get on our email list. And I put the information in this slide, but I can also say our website is www.dorotusa.org, and you can sign up right there. If you are not super comfortable using Zoom, we would be happy to teach you. We have tech coaches, and if you go to the next slide, we have, yes. So I'm sorry, the next slide is not connecting through tech coaches. It is connecting by phone. So if you're not comfortable on Zoom, the phone is great. We have our University Without Walls, which again has such a diverse range of programs. It's a catalog that's sent out less frequently. So if you are someone who likes to plan ahead, you can register for University Without Walls classes on a range of topics. You can join support groups, including groups that are partnered with Lighthouse and other organizations, libraries, on specific topics. a really exciting outcome of COVID is our Caring Calls program, which matches, who's a volunteer and who's a client at DOROT gets a little mushy. So I'm just going to say people, matches people for weekly phone chats that happen over the course of 8 weeks. A lot of people decide to, start that back up with another 8-week session. But it's a great way to start. If you haven't had the experience of connecting with someone who you haven't, met through friends or family and are a little rusty, this is a great way to just get your social skills going and see what that's like. Next slide, please. There we are with connecting through tech. So you can see our tech coaching program, which matches people who want help figuring out their cell phone, their tablet, their new computer. We have tech coaches who are trained in working with, in lay people terms to figure those things out and can really troubleshoot problems. We have wonderful tech guides that our coaches can follow, or you can access for free on our website and follow yourself to kind of learn something new or enhance your skills and, maybe get to that Zoom class that you weren't sure about. Next slide, please. So another piece of DOROT's mission is to bring generations together, and our intergenerational programs are really robust. As I am speaking to you, there are many teenagers in our building enjoying the first day of our second session summer teen internship, and it's quite a thing to hear their shenanigans. If that's something that you are interested in, we have many opportunities for you to give back in that way and to connect with our younger generation who may themselves be out of practice with connection. So if that's something that you're interested in, again, visiting our website is the best place, to get connected. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are those free programs. If something calls to you at Lincoln Center or Uptown or downtown, and you are not quite sure that you want to do it alone, then this is a great time to call on DOROT's response team. Volunteers are available to do all kinds of things. Again, this is another program that requires a home visit by a social worker. So if you're interested, get in touch with us soon so that we can get you connected while the weather is still good. Next slide, please. So DOROT also, a foundational element of DOROT's work is our social work department and the work that we do to support older adults aging in place, and really being able to sustain meaningful connections with others means being in a good place for yourself. So we have legacy projects, which is really kind of an opportunity for reminiscence and thinking about what is important for you to capture and leave as a memory. So people have done recipe books, collages, videos, poems, and we have trained volunteers that can really help you figure out what you want to capture and how. And that's an exciting program that has also become hybrid during COVID, and that's exciting. We have trained volunteers and staff members who can have sort of what matters conversations in terms of advanced planning. And then we have Aging Alone Together, which is a newer initiative, and that's focused on people who are living alone and want to do that in the best and most planful way possible while getting peer support. You can go to the next slide, please. So please get in touch with us. I want to say out loud, my contact information is abecker@dorotusa.org, and my colleagues on the referral resource line are happy to answer questions, take intakes if you're interested in our programs that require such a thing. Many of our programs, like I said, are accessible through our website. Please be in touch, and thank you.
Well, I just want to take the time to thank all of you for presenting today. This was a great wealth of information, and I wanted to make sure, because I've seen in the chat and Q&A individuals asking about the resources. So for the individuals who have RSVP'd, you will receive the PowerPoint slides, links to the videos, copies of the links for the items getting uploaded to YouTube. We'll also provide resources for Gail Brewer's Fresh Food for Seniors Guide, the home-based one-pager, lottery information for Park 79 by Fairstead, resources for young adults, and any other additional items that might have been provided by the presenters or the community. So as long as you RSVP'd, you'll receive that. If you did not RSVP, please feel free to drop your information in the Q&A and we'll collect that as well if you were unable to RSVP. Okay. So now we are going to shift over to the Q&A section. Again, my name is Shahyla. I'll be facilitating the questions. Luckily, I don't have to make any up because we do have a good amount of questions here. So what I would like for the panelists to do, if you feel like you can answer those questions, if you'll go ahead and use the raise your hand button, just so I can make sure to get answers from each of you as the questions come through. So we have a question from Adrian, who is saying that they're working with a client who is being mentally abused and neglected and or experiencing retaliation by an agency staff member of their housing program. What support or suggestions do you have to resolve this particular situation?
Sounds terrible.
I know. Mark, it looks like your hand is raised. Let's have you take a stab at it.
Yeah, I mean, and
the other hands pop up. I'll pull this.
Excellent. And I can jump in as a housing provider. One, many times in a housing setting, the case management services or the however they're described, service coordinators or social workers are voluntary. And so you don't necessarily have to use them to get the things done that you need to do. And I would suggest, again, there's a host of services that have been articulated today that may be helpful, but there are also the neighborhood senior centers from any of the organizations that run them. Some of them, like our Hamilton Senior Center, has social workers in them that can help you with the same type of information that you may be needing to work with in that housing space. So just wanted to add that you can get the same level of help in a different location than downstairs, if that's the case, to be able to move away from that. And then in some places, depending on where you are, there are many entities that you can raise this issue with to up the chain, right? So you want to be able to talk to some supervisors, or there might be some government officials you might want to speak with that can raise it. And if there is, sort of a level of abuse involved in terms of elder abuse, that may need to go to some government agencies for even higher escalation. And so those resources are available as well.
I'd like to just kind of dig a little deeper with that, Mark, and say that many housing programs and overall human service provider programs have a complaint resolution process. And so it should be, one, publicized and or given in writing what that process is that allows the individuals to ramp this up to a higher level. If there is a situation specifically around being mentally abused or neglected, and the individual, depending on their age, you can place an adult protective services report, or depending on, if they have special needs or any type of kind of support needs, if that makes them additionally vulnerable, again, like Mark said, you would reach out to city agencies. I'd also encourage you to do all of this in writing. rather than doing this via phone, so that there is a paper trail for those concerns and those complaints. Especially if the individual is vulnerable, having an outside advocate can really move things forward and get the issues resolved quickly. I would encourage the client as well as the advocate to document the conversations, dates, times, who they spoke to, and if any action was taken or follow-up at that time. Do we have any other panelists who would like to jump in?
I just always like to come in with the sort of basic thought of, if someone else and you are not working well together, sometimes it's just not a good fit. And you find someone, you keep looking until you find someone that can help you solve the problem. Just like bringing it up here is such a good idea, because looking for better ideas without losing sight of what your aim is to bring it up with everyone that could possibly help you till you find someone that you click with, that understands you and can move things forward.
All right, our next question comes from Mindy. So it says, hi everyone, I'm Mindy, case management supervisor at Heights and Hills in downtown Brooklyn, different community districts and different council areas. The housing crisis has hit us hard, as well as we are dealing with a tsunami of eviction cases, especially now that the eviction moratorium has expired from the coronavirus pandemic. Any suggestions for helping these clients who are being pushed out of their apartments, other than calling APS or NYC Connects for the lottery? And yes, it comes to winning a home through a lottery in NYC. Just to recap that, any suggestions for helping clients who are facing eviction or being pushed out of their apartments that do not include APS or NYC Connect? So any other resources?
There were some great resources shared last week. That would be my suggestion. I also can suggest DOROT's resource line. It is again echoing what Lisa was saying, in that just sending people as many places as possible. There was an ambulance that drove by as I was saying that, and I hope it didn't make it hard for me to hear, but just to—
You're fine.
Connect everywhere. Connect, yeah.
I just want to say no one's alone in having this terrifyingly difficult challenge of keeping people in their homes right now. So I do think, as Anna was saying, we can just keep reaching out till we find someone that can help us, elected officials and different social service organizations that can help you, Mobilization for Justice that can help people with their legal needs. There's a lot of different organizations. Just keep following the breadcrumbs and talking to people, keep asking like you're doing now.
And also add, check in with your local elected, because they often they don't necessarily have the resources in their office, but they're connected to legal groups that will be willing to help. So if you're a constituent, they'll go out of their way to help you.
Our next question comes from Sheldon. Can anyone help a 75-year-old homebound man restore his certification for Social Security disability, which has not received, it looks like, from 2006 to March 2021? Do we have any ideas for that? I have a few, but I'll let the panelists go first.
So,
Go ahead,
and
Anna.
you, I just want to say, Shahala, you are part of the panel and can shed light on things as well, because you're here for all of your expertise in multiple areas, just as well as everyone.
Anna, it looks like you maybe had an idea. No? Okay.
So my idea was, where does this person live? And a lawyer who might be available to them through their DIFTA case management agency or through NILAG, or there are many legal resources for older people and many ways to access them. So if it would be helpful to call our resource line or to call me, I'm happy to connect you with the places that I know I've had productive outcomes with, but it depends so much on the particulars of the person's situation that Shahaya, if you have something more specific.
I would say specifically to reach out to SOAR, S-O-A-R. There are representatives who assist with resolving these kinds of issues. Additionally, SOAR trains human services provider to be quote unquote SOAR certified so that you can be direct, to provide direct submissions for Social Security applications and provide and approve direct submissions for reinstituting Social Security. So that's another piece. Robin mentioned earlier about money matters. So particularly with Encore, we call it financial navigation. And a large part of the model comes from Money Matters, but we also have financial navigation services that particularly focus on seniors, individuals, or older adults, 59 or older. So what I'll do is I will drop that resource for our financial navigator. His name is Michael Wong, and it is M-Wong, W-O-N-G, at encorenyc.org. And I will also drop that here so that it's a part of the transcript as well. Okay, give me 1 second and I'll move on unless anyone has anything else to add. And I believe, Robin, Money Matters helps with things like this as well, correct?
Actually, Social Security would be more of a social worker, case manager function. And I'm actually, Sheldon, if you're listening, I will find out if anybody on our team has experience doing this, and I'll get back to you directly to let you know if we can or cannot help this person who's in real need. It's the kind of thing we might normally do under non-COVID situation. You know, there's so much documentation that would go into this that requires going into the home. So that was my real hesitation. But I'll get back to you, Sheldon. Thank you.
So the next question comes from Juan. If you live in a supportive housing agency and the agency closes down, what happens to the clients living within the agency?
So, I mean, I can say that many times if an agency dissolves, it's typically absorbed by another agency. And so those leases and all of those things still stay in place and are transferred over in many cases. So what I would say in this case is for that person to gain an understanding through whoever the existing staff is about who the new agency is that's taking over and be able to get the information for their property management, their social workers and the like, to understand what the new policies and processes may be. And that's in all cases. You know, these are going through license programs with the city, et cetera. And so there's going to be a very careful transition of services that should be announced. But if you don't know what it is, definitely work through the parties. And if you can't, I mean, again, you can reach out to us. There's the events at projectfind.org, EVENTS at projectfind.org. You can email that, and if I know the agency, I can help you to know who the transitioning agency is.
And typically, if the supportive housing program is funded by the city or state, again, like Mark was saying, they will take the responsibility for finding placement. So no client in supportive housing should just be told, we're closing down August 31st. Good luck, you need to find somewhere to go. They should be attached to a program that is going to find the actual placement for them, especially if it's not site-based vouchers for their supportive housing. So another one, might be a comment. Love the Pet and Elders program. There's also an organization called PAWS, 212-203-4760, to help elderly people to take care of their pets, particularly with walking pet dogs when it becomes too difficult for elderly clients due to mobility impairment. So that comes from Mindy. This question is from Max. Can anyone go to the Lighthouse Guild to have their eyes and vision checked, even if they don't have a problem so far?
Yes. And if you have any questions about that or anything else, I encourage you to call me directly. I do call everybody back, 646-847-4615. You can always call me and we can connect you to services, even if you don't have a problem so far. We can talk about what your options are, and I can also send you an email full of all interesting resources. So don't be shy.
The next one says, Bravo Lighthouse Guild, Bravo Search and Camp, Bravo DOROT, where I used to be a friendly visitor. That's very sweet. All right. The next one, Mindy placed a resource which is called EMDT. It's the Multidisciplinary Teams and/or New York City Elder Abuse Center for Elder Abuse Cases. And I believe that applies to the question from Adrian. Okay. Christine said, thank you for this fabulous session. We have E, who has written in and says, can you provide help with finding the other 2 sessions online? It looks like this might be a Mark question.
Well, I can. One of the resources will have the links on it when we send out that information coming soon. So it's not sent out yet. I know there's a number of folks who said I didn't get it. You haven't missed it. We need to just package it so we can get it out to you. And I promise we'll have a one-pager that you can click to get to the links for all of the sessions.
And in addition, this is
right now the links are on the community board website. So it's CB7/Manhattan website, and you just click the link.
Okay. Also, the next question says, does DOROT have volunteers in Brooklyn?
We do not have in-person volunteers in Brooklyn. You can participate in any of our remote programs as a volunteer or a participant from anywhere.
Okay, and we did receive some emails in the chat for individuals who would like to receive the resources, but just for clarification, we want to be clear on how individuals RSVP for these meetings. Do we have anyone who can answer that question?
Yes, they would have RSVP'd through the Zoom link. So anyone who pressed the Zoom link and you received the link to come into the session, you have RSVP'd because you put in your email address and that's where the information will travel. If you're uncertain, please send an email to events@projectfind.org and we will try to link you into that group when we send out the information. Right. I know that there was a question from last session, and I'm looking that up as we speak, Shahala.
Great.
As we close out. Just wanted to make sure, Dan, over at Hamilton, that there's nothing there that you.
I don't see that question, so if you have that question, Mark.
I'm trying to pull it up.
Okay. Joseph, it looks like your hand is raised. Did you have a question or comment?
Yes, and Robin probably knows what I'm going to say, but another important factor of aging in place or being in the community is having affordable and effective home care. So one of the things that Search and Care is a part of is the Caring Majority Fair Pay for Home Care Workers Coalition. I'm actually the one who is the Upper Manhattan regional leader. So I would encourage your agencies and your clients to get involved. I'm sure all of you have heard of clients and community members not being able to secure home care, and that of course is directly linked to the poor pay, which wasn't enough before the pandemic and certainly is not afterwards with this inflation. And I'm sure everyone on the call here understands, right? Caregiving is important, and we should be paying more for our home care workers who are caring for our loved ones. So again, I would encourage your clients to engage in that. If they're homebound, we specifically help them with engaging in advocacy, with letter writing campaigns, calling legislators, whatever needs to be done. But I would also encourage, your agencies and your clients to join the Caring Majority. Sorry, I had to put the plug in.
Thank you.
No sorry needed. It's so true. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very important plug. And I know that I'm always in housing looking for extra help in the units for certain folks, and home health is one of the most vital ways that we're able to help people maintain and thrive in their housing. So I'm supportive and have gotten some of those emails and try to get out to some of the next campaigns that you have. And I want to transition very quickly, and I just had that question. So Carol from last session was having trouble getting it in, but asked, does anyone provide help reviewing a lease on a new housing opportunity? And also was very interested in trying to understand, does anyone have any advice on how to handle, I'm going into a new apartment and they want me to sign this lease right in front of them, but I want to read it. I want to have somebody look over it, and I feel pressure. What should I do, or what advice can you give me?
In situations where you receive your appointment to sign your lease or time to sign your lease, you can ask for a copy in advance. They may still make you sign in front of them, but as a housing right, you're allowed to have a copy in advance to review. Now, if they ask you on Monday, can you show up on Wednesday to sign your lease? And you say yes, you have between that Monday and Wednesday to review it. You can't continue to kind of like push it off until you get an appointment 2 weeks later for someone to help you. So it may be a quick turnaround, but as a tenant, you have a right to review those documents before you sign. If you are beginning the lease signing process, something is confusing and you ask for clarification, you can ask and say, can we reschedule this until I can get more clarity? And obviously not drag it out, especially with housing programs.
Thank you on behalf of Carol. All right. So I think we've come to the end of our questions, and perhaps to the end of our 3 sessions on obtaining, maintaining, and thriving in housing. We hope that everyone finds the information useful, and we intend to stay in touch with all of you that continue to connect with us via the videos if you weren't in the live sessions. And so Roberta, I guess I'll leave it to you to close this out.
I want to thank everybody, especially our panelists, and the special, I've worked with Robin only for the last year, but the rest of your organizations I've worked with since I moved to New York 30 some years ago. And I want to just especially thank Mark. He's pulled together these 3 wonderful panels. We worked hard to decide that we wanted to to have a housing 101 with 3 forums. And then like magic, Mark pulled it all together. So I think special thanks to Mark, to all of you, and to Mark. And the CB7 Senior Task Force will continue to work and continue to help seniors in our community. And I want to thank everybody.
Thank you so much, Roberta, for everything you do.
Yes. Thank you thank you to those who tuned in today. We
Yes.
appreciate your time.
To all of our listeners.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.